Welcome back everyone to GoatCast Sports. I'm CW, and today let's talk about the greatest player on the planet and his rivals. While I will always stand by the fact that I do not feel Jordan had an individual who truly rivaled him during his 15 years in the association, I will say there were teams and even a few individuals who made things very hard on the GOAT. We will discuss just a few of those teams and players today and how those rivalries played out in his storied career. If you were around for those years, you know Jordan was an absolute beast. An assassin-like with his mentality. He made sure to kill the spirits of any player or teams that stepped in his way. I even think that he reveled in those that really challenged him on the court and made him work even harder in the weight room or the actual court. This will be a series that will continue for a few parts, so today I will narrow it down to 3 more obstacles that stood in his way and basically with rivalries he had to conquer in his career. But before we jump into those rivals, please like and subscribe to the channel. Can't do this without you guys, and the road to 1,000 is getting really close. I appreciate your views, and now let's get back to the breakdown and check out Michael Jordan and his rivals. Number 3, Penny Hardaway. Anthony Penny Hardaway was drafted 3rd overall in the 1993 draft by the Golden State Warriors, but shipped off to the Orlando Magic that same night in exchange for Chris Webber, the number 1 draft pick that year. But that's a story in itself. A 6'7" combo guard who had a vision that him and Shaq together would be the perfect combination to threaten the now wide open Eastern Conference. This was during the time that Jordan had taken his first sabbatical from the league. Penny was a budding star whose lanky frame and ability to handle the ball and get to the basket made him an immediate threat in the league. So when Mike returned late in the season in 1995, the landscape was set for these two to go to war. They would meet one time during Mike's regular season return, but it was the 95 playoffs where we got to see what Penny was made of. They would duel throughout the conference semifinals, and while Mike would mostly get the best of Penny overall, it was Penny who got the last laugh as he and Shaq would send the Bulls home in 6 games. Of course, after a full season, the Bulls would ultimately sweep those same Orlando Magic the following postseason on their way to ring number 4 in the 90s. But it was clear that Penny Hardaway was every bit of a challenge for Jordan, outscoring the scoring champ in 2 of their regular season games in the 96 season, as well as twice in the Eastern Conference Finals. Unfortunately, we probably missed some of prime Penny Hardaway due to the injury bug stinging him and hampering his rise in the league. But when healthy, Penny was a thorn in Jordan's side. In their 21 meetings, Jordan would best Penny 14 of the 27 meetings, and Jordan would average 28.4 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, and 2.3 steals when playing him. Penny would average 20.7 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 1.6 steals against the GOAT. Had Jordan not left a second time after the 98 season and Penny stayed healthy during those years, we may have had many more epic duels between the two and possibly a true rivalry for MJ. Number 2, Dominique Wilkins. My cousin on my mom's side, Dominique Wilkins was a guy way ahead of his time. Dominique in today's NBA would be a star. With his insane athleticism and skill, he earned the nickname the human highlight film, even gaining that during the days of Jordan being in the league. These two not only had a rivalry on the court when a game was on the line, the duo became one of the most iconic dunk contest opponents ever. Who doesn't remember the 1988 dunk contest? The windmill jam that should have clinched it for Wilkins, and of course, the quote-unquote free throw dunk by Jordan that sealed the deal. One of the few times another NBA great truly made Mike sweat it out. However, these two would be just as fierce in their games on their respective teams. Dominique is best known for his years with the Atlanta Hawks, and during those years would have some competitive showdowns with Mike and the Bulls. People really don't remember how good Dominique was, and how he's every bit close to Jordan's level of greatness throughout the 80s and into the 90s. Neek even blitzed the Bulls for a 57-piece game in a matchup. Jordan seemed to have a bit of respect for Dominique he didn't always have for opposing players, even admitting to Dominique that he should have won the 88 dunk contest, which is hard to get something like that out of Mike. And according to Dominique, was one of the very few conversations the two ever had. In the 48 games they played each other, Jordan won 30 and even swept Dominique and the Hawks in 93. Jordan averaged 31.8 against Wilkins, while Dominique averaged 29.8 against Mike and those Bulls. You have to wonder if Wilkins had found another squad with maybe one other star, if he could have challenged Jordan's throne. Number 1, Charles Barkley. Former friends turned not so much. You would have never known the two guys were buddies off the court during their time on it. Charles Barkley, Sir Charles, Chuck, the round mound rebound, was without a doubt one of the greatest power forwards and even players of all time. If your only link to Barkley is on Inside the NBA on TNT, Do yourself a service and go look up highlights of the big man. Undersized for the position, he more than made up for it in strength and freakish hops, able to corral boards in bunches. Starting and cementing his career in the Eastern Conference on the Sixers, and then moving coast and joining a very solid Phoenix Suns team. Barkley and Jordan seem to be cut from the same cloth. Barkley just a little meaner on the outside, while Jordan concealed his a little better. The clashes would be one for the ages, and even culminated into a war in 1993 for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. You have to think that Barkley at times holds a little grudge against MJ, even into today. I mean, as he gets clowned every season by his co-hosts Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny Smith for being ringless, he can attribute Jordan for stopping him when he had the perfect chance to join them as champs. In their storied careers, they met up 55 times, but Jordan bested Barkley 31 of those times, even sending Barkley fishing 3 times in the playoffs. In those contests, Jordan averaged 35.8 points per game and 6.2 assists. Barkley averaged 23.9 points with 12.2 rebounds to go along with them. I'm pretty complimentary of Jordan, but here I have to say that him being petty against Barkley is really a bad look. Ending their friendship because of some constructive criticism in many ways is childish. While I enjoy their battles on the court, I hate that they have fallen from being friends off of it. Much like Scotty's weird hatred towards Mike being a blemish, I have to say Jordan really comes off pretty bad in all of this. However, that's not what we're here for. So there are 3 more rivals in Jordan's historic career. This series will definitely continue, and round 3 will bring in even more challenges from teams and players. So if you want to ascend to GOAT status like number 23, please like and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate you guys for helping GOATcast Sports get closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers. I hope you enjoyed and be back soon with more content.